welcome into another episode of the Young Dad Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. It's a pleasure to be with you again for episode 63 of the podcast. We are getting so close to overall episode number 100. We're about 5 or 6 away in total between bonuses and mainstream episodes. So that's super exciting. We have a really cool guest coming on for episode total 100. So I'll tease that out now. He's really, really close to me. He looks a little bit like me. He sounds a little bit like me. It's not my brother. It's someone that had me when I was really young. Technically, he was young too. So just think about that. Try to put those dots together. But I am joined today by, first of all, a great friend. And someone that you guys haven't heard his lovely voice since December 18th, 2022, which is bonkers. We thought it had been a lot more recent than that, but we have a year to catch up on. We have just so much. Of course, we've stayed in touch. We've talked back and forth over the last year, but it's my good friend Evan. He was back on episode 11 of the show, so when the show was a lot different. So if you've been one of our longtime listeners since then, of course, thank you so much. We appreciate that. So yeah, Evan, welcome in. If the people don't remember you from last time, let me see if I can get some greetings here. Your princess has a rare condition, an uncommon condition called Sturge Weber Syndrome. You're joining us from down under, down in Australia. Last time you were on, we talked about spiders, tarantulas, pizzas, soccer, rugby, which is some of the things. We talked very deeply about Sturge Weber. You brought some great awareness to what it is, made me more aware of what it is, made our listeners more aware, so that was great. I think that was a lot of it. You took us through your whole life journey pretty much. We'll probably do that again a little bit. The ups and downs, the good, the evil, the bad, the ugly. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a pretty damn cool dude, and you love America more than Australia, last time I heard. So, all jokes aside, Evan, thanks for being back on with us. And I say that because you do like pineapple on pizza, because that's a tragedy, unless you finally changed and grown up. But how's it going, man? Tell us about you. Tell us about your life. Introduce yourself once again for the people.
Yeah, g'day Jay and all the listeners out there. Thanks for having us back on. You sort of put me on the thing there saying that I like the Yank Tanks over Australia. I don't know about that one, buddy. Especially if you take into consideration the differences of annual leave. But
No, I like Australia more too.
yeah, no, thanks again for having us on. It has been a while. I got to admit, I was shocked when we realised it's been well over a year since I was on, because, like you said, it felt like it was about 6-8 months ago. That's amazing how much things occur in such a short period of time to really blow out the time periods, you know. Yeah, I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same, to be honest with you. I've still got my beautiful little princess with us. She's 5 now. She's going on 16 with her attitude. She ended up getting I bought her a new surfboard, well, a surfboard, for her 5th birthday, and absolutely loved it until we took it to the beach that one time, and all she wanted to do was sit on it and dig a hole. So that was really interesting. Definitely not the way that I first envisioned it, but that's the thing. You always make a plan in your mind how something's going to go ahead, and then when it doesn't go that way, you just got to roll with it.
No,
as for
super true.
as for the pineapple on the pizza, look, dude, it has to remain. It's got to be. It's a core ingredient to a fantastic pizza. You know, like you get roast chicken, barbecue sauce, Spanish onion, fresh pineapple. You get that fresh juiciness on there.
What's a Spanish
just to
onion?
break it
Now
up.
I'm more concerned what the Spanish onion is.
Red onion.
Oh, okay. That's what I
Red
thought, but
onion.
I'm like, I've never heard it called a Spanish onion. But
Well, do you know what they call a
okay,
Spanish onion in Spain?
an onion.
Uh, That's it. It's just an onion.
Okay, I was like, is that a trick question? But no, you're so right. I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I mean, overall, things are things are still things, right? Same wife, same kid. She's just a little bit older now. Um, my kids are older now. I mean, 2022. I mean, in December of 2022, I had a 2-year-old barely, and I had a five, five going on 6-year-old. Um, but it's the same. The girls are right around that age. I say three is when they start to go into their three-nager years, four-nager, five-nager, six-nager. So it starts early. That attitude, being a girl dad, it starts and it won't let up. It's only gonna get
Oh,
not worse. You'll learn it, you'll understand a little bit more, but yeah, buckle up. Um, be
I can definitely believe that. She's starting to show a lot more traits of her mother,
careful.
which
Your mom's
is
around, so we don't want to say that too loud.
she's at the. Thankfully, she's at the other side of the house. I can hear her. She's way down
Okay,
there,
then we're
so
good.
she won't be able to hear that.
Okay, we're good. We're safe.
But she's very stubborn, very opinionated, very bossy, very cute, very sweet, huge heart. Um, can flip off the handle at a moment's notice. So, and then there's my daughter. So,
No, it's so true with the girls this age. The thing is, the way it gets worse is that they get smarter. So they get smarter, so they're able to know how to work the system in just ever so slightly different ways. So they pick up on new things, new tactics, new abilities. They get smarter, more intelligent, more emotionally intelligent. And so that's how it gets worse, is that it just gets
yeah,
easier for them. It gets harder for us,
Addie's
but
Addie's
easier
going
for them.
to. Oh, definitely. Well, Addie's going to prep at the moment. So it's sort of like a transition school before they go into kindergarten,
Okay.
and she's going to like a private Christian school,
Okay.
and it's very very interesting the new little tips and tricks she's coming home with that she's playing, well, that she's using against me or against me and
Mm-hmm.
her mother. So I'm like, oh, she's picking things up from the other kids. Right on. Okay, happy days. I've got a school kid now, or soon to be anyway, when she gets through
Mm-hmm.
it, and I'll have to learn her homework before she gets it so I can help her with, which I got to admit I'm kind of looking forward to.
No, homework's a lot of fun. It's real simple for the first couple years so far. I'm a couple years ahead of you. That where she's at in America would be called Head Start or pre-K kind of thing. To where she's kind of just more socializing, engaging, not too many educational expectations and whatnot. And then at least kindergarten here, they transition into kindergartens are definitely treated very, very differently than the rest of the kids at school, kind of thing. They really coddle the kindergartners to make sure that they adjust to kindergarten, they adjust to school, they adjust to routine. So it's very, very coddled still. It's not nothing's really pushed too hard. At least here, they're given like packets of homework. They're given their homework's very simple. It's more sight words learning. The educational expectations aren't too high, especially for kids because kids now, at least, they're coming from all different walks. Fast forward, take it back us 4 years ago, and the kids going into kindergarten more than likely had a kind of a head start or a preschool or a pre-K, kindergarten, first grade kind of thing. And so they had more like school system involvement from a younger age at like two, three kind of thing. Um, COVID happens, it throws all that off because daycare shut down. Kids are just at home learning from, if they're learning at all, learning from siblings and TV and parents and whatnot. There's no like traditional school structure. That structure doesn't go back in place until these kids are now 3, 4 years old. They maybe get a year of that versus while they were getting maybe 2 or 3 prior to kindergarten. Um, so now kids are coming in just
It's
all over the place.
it is yeah. It's same but different here. So we have like preschool, which is sort of like just a daycare where the kids just go to these places. It's subsidized by the government, so it doesn't cost parents too much.
Mhm.
They go there, they finger paint, they just dick around, have food. Whereas
Yep.
some private schools have like prep, which is sort of like a mini kindergarten, where they're doing the routines, the learnings, and whatnot. I'm not sure if the public schools do it, but the private and the semi-private, obviously you have to pay for that luxury.
Mhm.
So I actually had a bit of a heart attack, to be honest, when at his school ranges from $7,000 to I think $10,000 per year, and I
That's
thought that the
crazy.
$7,000 actually started in year seven, so it was like $1,000 a year. Boy, was I wrong. It's actually seven thousand
Mm.
dollars for kindergarten, and it slowly ramps up to about I think 10, 11,000 when they hit year 12. So yeah, fun times. So,
Hey, super
but
fun.
well, at least with this school, they do. They really look out for like the special kids. They'll do
Yeah.
because they're private. They can sort of like run to their own curriculum to a degree, so they can set up individual educational programs for special kids who might be lagging, that kind of thing. So that
That
was
makes
one of the
sense.
big draws of sending. Yeah, so it was a big draw of sending Addie to a.
Definitely. Now, I don't know if we covered it last time, but for with her and with her Sturge Weber and anything, has there? And I know she's made just amazing progress since we last spoke. I kept up on it. You see me message you damn near every time you put up something about her. I'm such a fan of that little girl. Like she's amazing. Everything that she's done, but with her and how does it affect like her like cognition or like developmentally, or does it give her additional like special needs or limitations when it comes to like learning and education, or even limit her social skills at all? um, Most people are probably
Yeah,
thinking,
it
if they're listening right
actually.
to this moment, they're probably thinking, well, Sturge Weber, is she also on the spectrum, like kind of where is that the same but also different, more specifically for her and other kids that may have Sturge Weber?
She it's all of the above, unfortunately. So there is learning difficulties. It does take her a while to get her head around situations, and she can very quick to frustration. You got to think with her disability, it's degenerative, so she's essentially only got half a brain. The right side of her, sorry, the left side of her brain is slowly getting starved of oxygen and blood flow, so it's slowly dying off. And it takes that little bit longer for the other side of the brain to pick up those sets of skills. So that's why we've actually had to delay her from starting kindergarten. She's actually going to start kindergarten a year later. The other things is that she will, like socially, it's not too bad. She's very happy to try and make friends and whatnot. So it's like when she tries to play with her friends, she will try and set out a way how to play, communicate. But because she's got a speech disability, she thinks that she is saying the play plan perfectly. Let's do this, let's do that. But the kids don't fully understand it because she can't get the words out correctly. So they won't know what to
Mm,
do, or so they'll just run off, and then she'll get really, really upset. Um, she's only now able to write the letter A and D, but even then it's
Okay.
really sketchy because she struggles to hold a pen. Her eyesight's definitely improved. She was actually blind over Christmas after we spoke.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 22 Christmas we had a failed surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and it ended up causing a detached retina. So she was blind over Christmas, and it took quite a lot of fighting with the surgeons and the doctors for them to do an experimental surgery, I think in February last year, for them to try and reattach that retina. So she got her vision back. She ended up having a stint put in her eye to relieve the pressure from her glaucoma caused by the Sturge Weber.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, actually her reading, well, she can't differentiate the letters, but she can try and read now. She can see a lot better. So
So that
that was actually a
experimental
big
surgery
positive.
was
So
kind of a success then.
to to reattach it, but it could have gone really bad.
Yeah.
So with her actually having better eyesight now, that has definitely improved her learning at school. She does get a little bit shy, and people still stare at her face.
Mm-hmm.
We actually went. I almost got into a massive fight at a grocery store. We went. We went on a holiday this year actually with the Ronald McDonald Foundation. So Macca's has a child's
Mm-hmm.
foundation here in Australia. I'm not sure if they have it over in the States,
Mm-hmm.
where they support a whole lot of sick kids, and
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. They
they've
have the
got
same thing here.
holiday homes. Oh, score! And so we ended up going to one of their holiday homes up on the north coast, and we'd spent all day at the beach, and so she was a bit tired, and her eye was really red. As much as they can do laser surgery on her face, they can't go near the eye. So her eyelid's
Mm-hmm.
very, very red. And we're walking through the supermarket, and this bloke, this fucking bum who works there, who actually had facial tattoos himself, obviously didn't have a nice life, was stacking the shelf, and he saw my daughter, and he goes, "Oh, wow, look at you. You're like a little monster with your face paint." Thankfully, Addie didn't think anything of it. She was like, "No, I got my pink milk, blah, blah, blah." I've looked at him, and I could have fucking killed him because as much as she's aware that she looks different, she's not fully aware how different she is. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're trying to keep up that positivity. Um, we have her talking to trying actually building up a relationship with the psych. So when she gets that a little bit
Okay.
older, she'll be able to talk to it and regulate feelings and emotions.
Definitely.
Um, but yeah, other than that, she's going pretty good. The thing with Sturge Weber is it affects everyone differently, like their brain. It affects every brain differently. Like some poor kids, they're vegetables. In Canada, actually, that's like a PhD. She's a lawyer, some fancy lawyer with PhD. So it's the band is it's so ranging for these kids, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, that's very true. So my ex and I, so my kid's mom, we actually just came to an agreement for my older daughter who's 6 to actually get her into therapy. So by the time this comes out, she'll have gone through at least 2, maybe 3 therapy appointments, just to give her that outlet, just because it's so needed. And it was probably one of the really harder things, like to swallow. Like, yes, I work in mental health. I'm a mental health clinician, professional in the field, master's degree in psychology, and all that fun stuff. But when it comes to your own kid, like sometimes you're just even lost because it's like I am the professional in this field, but there's no way like I can even work with her because that's me. I don't work with me. I have other people work with me for me. Um, and so it was probably one of the harder things to do is to come to that realiz not realization. Like I knew it was needed, but like actually doing it, it was like wow, like I can definitely empathize a lot differently now with other parents that I work with and different clientels. Like, I get it. I get it
Well,
now. So it's definitely
a mechanic doesn't work on his own car, so because he's got an emotional connection to that car. So someone else will come through and look, oh, you know, your shocks are shot, or you got a hole in your exhaust, and he's like, no, 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 it's good, it's good. As a parent, you know, you won't necessarily see all the, I won't say red flags, but all the tipping points that like another professional, a third party would see because
in the
you're
outside perspective.
emotionally
You're
invested,
biased.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
oh, big
biased.
time.
Invested. So,
You know,
kind of a
there was
weird
one
question. Oh, go
thing.
ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one thing that we noticed, like the third party buys them thing, was that Addie likes to have sort of like downward grounding pressure. So when she's sleeping, she'll lash out with her feet, she'll kick, she'll try and find you with the foot, and then she'll push against it. When she's sitting on the ground, she'll sit in a particular way so that there's pressure forcing down on the ground. And after we spoke with Kate, her shrink, she's like, no, she has this, and it's some fancy word, Well, I hit things with a hammer for a living, um, so we ended up getting her. Well, sorry, Santa got her a weighted blanket for bedtime. Next thing
Smart.
you know, she's having
Smart.
some of the best sleeps of her life because she has that
Makes sense.
downward pressure on her all the time. But we couldn't see it.
Yeah.
We had no idea because we're like, oh, she's just kicking. So
Yeah. Like you telling me that
sometimes
and
it
with the
makes
way she
sense.
sits, 100%. Like that sounds like it's a sensory processing disorder kind of thing, uh, lining up there. But it makes. There she is. Hi there.
Say hello.
Hi, Addie.
Hi.
How are you? It's so good to meet you. Good. You having a good day?
You can look at the camera.
Hi.
I want Evie coming today.
Your friends
You did
Ayla and
what
Evie
today?
are coming today.
And them having the swim in my pool.
What? You're gonna hang
They're
out with
gonna
them in
have
your
us.
pool? That's awesome. Do I sound different than the people you know? Do I talk
Yeah.
funny? Yeah,
Yeah.
a
I'm
little
gonna keep
bit.
talking to Jay now.
Okay.
I love you.
It was nice
Dad.
meeting you,
Yeah, baby.
Addie.
And for daddies. Off you go. Go find a yogurt or something. Sorry about that, mate. I knew she'd
Pleasure.
find me one sooner or later.
I knew I was waiting for it, but um, it's so. But yeah, gotta have that. Sometimes you need that third party perspective. You need that different
Yeah,
perspective. You need someone else objective, and
I fully believe in just having a third party come in essentially with anything, a fresh set of eyes to give you a new perspective,
mm,
to see what you're not seeing. But you can do that
yeah.
with anything. I mean, you're painting a wall, you're working on your car, you're gardening. Think of marriage counseling as well, relationship counseling. A third
Mm,
party just coming and going, hey, maybe you should do a little bit more, maybe she should do a bit more, just to refresh it. As long as it all comes from a place of love, of course.
exactly. Exactly. It's all about the intention behind it, and then also acknowledging
Mm.
that intention. But my question for you: so with all of the vast technology that's come out in the last year or two, AI and just all the tech that just keeps coming out, keeps coming out, keeps coming out. Is there ever a thought for you with this kind of being on the horizon in the next 5 to 20 years? Any thoughts? Maybe you haven't thought about it, but any thoughts for her to have any like artificial intelligence, like working with her, like within her own brain, in her head, or doing any of those kind of things, for her to kind of be on that same playing field as other kids, artificial brain intelligence, anything like that being given to her, putting in her kind of thing.
All we ever do. my partner and I, is think about her future and what's going to come up. Like we had a appointment with her neurologist, her neurosurgeon, maybe about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and we were talking about different things. And AI, not so much, more of some kind of drug that might be able to sort of like aspirin, right? Aspirin, she has aspirin to thin out the blood to try and minimize any kind of strokes or calcification in her brain. So by diluting the blood, making it thinner. Potentially, there could be some kind of drug in the future that's delivered similar to aspirin that might be able to open up the crushed blood vessels in her brain, to allow proper blood flow, to fully supply that brain to minimize its starving. We definitely think of that.
Definitely.
There's no talk about it though. Unfortunately, Sturge Weber is because it being so rare, does not get a lot of funding for for medicals. Like you look at everything that they give her now, her epilepsy drug, that all stem from epilepsy. The drops, the surgery, that's all glaucoma. That's not Sturge Weber. All these issues are byproducts of Sturge Weber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're treating all the other things that are the symptoms and side effects of the main thing, yet not treating the main thing. So while the main thing goes untreated, how much progress can truly be made, kind of thing.
Exactly, but there's also there's no money in it, and as this is going to sound really fucked up, but drug companies, pharmaceuticals, governments, everything like that, they make so much more money off of like cancer treatments, right? Treatments for AIDS, all that kind of stuff.
That's the whole point.
Because a lot of people get it. Is it in their best interest really to cure cancer? Yeah, this is like silly conspiracy crap, but is it in their best interest to cure cancer? Not really. Not financially.
No.
But
And
because a lot of people get it.
Conspiracy.
No, because a lot of people get it, it gets more funding. But with Sturge Weber, like the rarity of this, there's really not a lot of money. There's not a lot of private money even going into research because not a lot of people get it. So
and not a lot of people have
we
it.
just have to, we just have to wait and see that maybe that not so much a side effect, but like if they develop a drug for something else, it might be able to be utilized for a Sturge Weber kid. Like aspirin. So and the glaucoma drops. Opening up the blood vessels in the eye to allow drainage to keep that pressure down. Similar to what's happening in the brain, but obviously you can't put eye drops in the brain. So we just have to wait and see. And yeah, my missus, she's an atheist, but yeah, I definitely fucking think and pray about it every single day.
100%.
How will she be when she's 60? I won't be there to protect her. So it's always on our mind.
No, 100%. I agree with that. Like before we had even talked the very first time, it was something I had never heard of, which I had been in a similar boat my entire life. So when I was growing up, my legs would hurt a lot, and it wasn't just growing pains. Like I physically couldn't get out of bed because of this neuromuscular disease that I have from my dad. My dad has it, my dad's dad had it, kind of thing. It runs in the male genetics. And so it's what's called Anderson-Twail syndrome. But you just can't tell another 7-year-old on the playground you're running funny because you have this complicated muscular disease kind of thing. You can't just tell a staff member at school that you're a little bit different and run different when you look completely normal to them, and tell them, well, I have this thing that I can't walk the same. I can't run the same. I can't run as fast. because my muscles don't work the same as your muscles, kind of thing. And so that's super hard to explain to people. And then even going to doctor's offices is like, oh, I never heard of that. So it's that same similar kind of boat where it's like, if more people don't have it, or more, if there's not someone with enough money to go and do the independent and fund their own research on it for people, then it'll never happen, kind of thing. Because a doctor's
No,
not
spot
going to
on.
go out of their way away from their, cut and cloth of knowing, like, hey, I know this thing, but I only know 3 paragraphs that I can Google on my own medical research kind of journal about it, and that's pretty much all the knowledge I can give you or information I can give you on it. It's like, cool, so you're just like everyone else, and none of them want to go against like their cut and cloth, common core medicine and practice, because they don't want to be on the outside looking in. They don't want to be on the outside of making the maximum money or anything like that. They don't want to lose out on that potential for earning, because if they just play it safe, they go with the system, they go with everybody else, then they'll be great. They'll be fine. They'll have a great life, lucrative career. They'll be great. They don't want to step out on their own. But the thing is with the system, and I'll be having a doctor on soon to kind of talk about this even more in depth, but he's a doctor, he's a PT, physical therapist. And so in his work, in his practice and everything, he wasn't able to, he wanted to start meeting more and more people up the line. He wanting to meet people further before they got hurt. Preventative medicine is taboo. Um, I want to. So preventative medicine isn't a thing. It's taboo. If you practice preventative medicine, like, you are the black sheep of the medical community here in America, at least. Because it's not about preventing. It's about prescribing. It's about prescribing
It's making money.
treatment. It's about making money, because preventing it means that there's less money coming down the line. There's less money to
Yeah, well,
be made if you prevent the disease.
Hospitals get funded by the for research and all that because of the return. You're not going to invest in something if you're not going to get a financial return from it. So, with certain diseases, especially the smaller ones, there's not a lot of return. There's like, you cure Sturge Weber, like, as awesome as that would be, you're not going to get any money from it. I mean, you could charge the drug $100,000. Of course, not many Sturge Weber parents are going to be able to afford that, but there will be a couple. But the amount of money that would need to be put into it to find that cure would cost millions, like tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, because it's not fully understood. So there's no financial return on it. So why do it? Which is fucked.
Exactly. When they have the cure for cancer. I mean, let's all admit it. Even if you're a conspiracy theorist or not, like, they have the cures, they have their resources. I've seen too many doctors, too many things, too many reputable sources, just with my own eyes, looking at these own medical studies and whatnot. They have the cure. They 100,000% have the cure. And the thing is that they're going to tell us they don't have the cure because it's still being researched and developed and whatnot. And this is the only way that we can treat it, which is bull. Because they have alternative medicine reasons that treat it just the same and have very little, if any, chance of actually the cancer coming back. The cancer comes back so often. Usually comes back worse. It comes back harder. Or it takes just years upon years upon years in some cases to actually get through to remission, to beat the cancer, to get rid of the cancer, or anything like that. Radiation, chemo, kidney problems with dialysis, or whatever it is. It's not that we don't have the answers. It's just the answers that we're given are the ones that they want to give us because those are the ones that make them the most money. And there's no conspiracy behind it. It's fact. It's fact. You go to the doctor, what do? They spend 6 minutes with you. at least here in America, they spend 6 minutes with you, throw you a drug, and send you out the door. Like, that's it.
Yeah, no,
6
I agree
minutes,
with that.
write your prescription, and you're out the door, and you get better temporarily, but more often than not, what happens? You get sick again. So where are you back again? At the doctor's. Same issue, maybe a little bit different. They write you another prescription, another antibiotic that's going to tear up your system, destroy your system, make you less healthy and more susceptible again. And they're going to write you something else. Rinse and repeat. It's the same thing. Like, I get asked all the time, why don't you go to the doctor? Like, why? I could go to freaking Walmart and go get some Tylenol or some medicine or whatever for $10, and I'll be fine in a couple days, kind of thing. I'll just eat right. Maybe I'll take a couple more scoops of my greens or whatever I need to do to supplement to feel a little bit better, but I'm not going to prevent me from life. Because it's not anything I need to go to a doctor about. Now, if it was a broken bone or something torn or something I knew was 100% wrong that I can't do on my own, then I'll go to a doctor because I absolutely have to go to a doctor for that kind of thing. Something I can't do on my own. So
when I get sick, if it's like some kind of cold or cough or whatever, I go straight to the bottle shop, get myself a good bottle of scotch, and just sweat that bastard out.
No, exactly, and that's really what you kind of have to do. I mean, heck, when my voice is a little bit raspy now, this is the best it sounded for over a week. I finally kicked the cough, but at the worst of it, I was like, well, I'm not going to go to the doctor. Like, I'm just going to take some honey. I'll take some emergency vitamin C just to put the right things in my system to give my system a little bit more firepower to fight off whatever's going on. Some honey, some lemon water. I'll be fine. I'll drink some tea. And I'll just deal with it. I'll just deal. A couple tequila shots here and there.
Now, now you're talking. We actually had that going at Christmas.
Yeah, same.
we had Christmas tequila shots.
Yep. We had some, yeah. But I mean, that's kind of what it is. You treat it yourself because you know it's going to work and you know it's going to be more cost effective, time effective. Then just why waste your time going to a doctor when all they're going to do, and you know exactly what they're going to do, they're going to spend 6 minutes with you and write you a prescription. And they're going to say, have a nice day. Next, please.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with you on that one.
$100 off that prescription. They just made $100 off you being in there, running your insurance, billing for those 6 minutes, that they're going to bill an hour and a half because of your wait time. And then they're going to make hundreds of dollars off, hundreds if not thousands of dollars off that prescription they just gave you at your expense, when you could have just gone to Walmart and spent $10, gotten some Tylenol or some cough medicine and slept it off for a day, maybe missed a day of work, so you lose what, $100, $150 versus.
No, well, yeah, depends where you're at. We get sick leave, so we get paid regardless.
No, of course, most people in America, I mean, not all, but a majority have a sick day that they can take and burn, so they're not losing any money. So really, they're out net negative $10 versus hundreds, if not maybe even thousands in some cases, depending on the doctor you get on the other side and how much they're trying to line their pockets with. So,
well, I actually go to work when I'm sick, to be honest with you.
Same.
I try and keep my sick days for when I'm well and just want to have a day off and not use any of my annual leave days.
No.
Although, also, a lot of my sick leave is actually taken up by it gets classified as carer's leave. At his appointments.
Yep.
Like we're going to the hospital or different appointments, maybe. It's actually starting to taper off, but at least maybe once every 6 weeks, we might be going somewhere. The brain rehab clinic, the eye clinic, neurologists, one therapist that wasn't able to go to a school, so we got to catch up. Or I just use it as an excuse and pull her out of school and then take it to the beach, to a carnival, just for some little fucking daddy-daughter day, just to remind her, hey, life is fun. Let's have some fun. And then get in trouble off the missus later for not taking her.
Ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Mate, you know
No.
what? I used to believe that, but then there are some things that I've done or purchased, so to speak, where I really should have asked for permission because forgiveness did not come.
Is that how you got the 2 motorbikes?
Well, one of them is hers, but the paint job on mine, like you've seen it, it's on my
Yeah, I've seen it.
Facebook,
It's
but
sick.
yeah, that I probably should have asked permission for that one because
Oh.
that was a big expense.
Yeah. But no, your bike's beautiful. Australia is just absolutely beautiful, man. Just to kind of bring us back to something here. Australia,
What?
man, we've talked about it ever since we talked. Like, I've been tracking, I have a Google flight tracker on for flights to Sydney. For when they're at like the lowest they've been over a certain period of time. And like, I've seen them as low as like $800 round trip. And I'm just like, oof. Ah.
You should just hit it. You know, actually, here's a kicker for you because we did speak about it in the pre-lobby. Prior, our last conversation, we did a lot of comparisons, Aussies versus Yanks.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your Christmas, please.
So
What was
Christmas
on your
here, so for
Christmas
me,
table?
definitely. So it looks a little bit different this year versus other years previous, because of situation, being engaged, having a new partner, and everything like that. So the kids' mom and I, we split Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. She has them Christmas Eve, I have them Christmas Day. Um, and this year it was way different because there was more people to go and see and spend Christmas with, as a whole. And so, let's say last year when I had them for Christmas Day, we had, I don't know, we probably had mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, a ham, um, probably cinnamon rolls because I make homemade cinnamon
Is
rolls,
this a
so that's the
lunch?
only way I'll eat them.
Is this a lunchtime thing?
It's like an afternoon, evening kind of thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Probably like 3, 4 o'clock is when you're probably going to eat most things. So yeah, that's kind of what it looked like last year. This year it looked like way different, because of getting them from their mom. So essentially, fiance and I went and picked him up. We brought him back here. We did all of our Christmas things here. Had a light breakfast, nothing crazy, um, and spent some time here. And then after that, it was going over to her parents' house to where they had a bunch of gifts and everything for them. So then spending time over there. And they're Latino, they're Mexican. And so it was definitely different. Um, I can't even remember what we ate, but I'm pretty sure we just ate like some meat and tortillas and things like that. Nothing crazy. Christmas Eve, we had gone over to some of her families because I didn't have the kids. So we went over to some of her families, had tamales and pozole and just all the good shit. All the good shit. Um, Authentic, delicious, some pollo verde tamales. So good, so good, so good. Um, and then Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, Christmas Day, we did that. We were exhausted, so we didn't really make anything big or extravagant this year for Christmas. I think we ended up going to a carne asada, which is a Mexican, like, or not Mexican, like Latino, Hispanic, like shop meat market kind of thing. So we went to the carne asada, got a bunch of
Okay.
different meats. I think we got like 4 pounds of meat, cooked it up, had a big old taco bar, because that's what we decided we wanted to be our thing for Christmas Eve, was just to do tacos and have a big old taco bar and hang out kind of thing. So that's kind of where we landed, was just a big old taco bar and things like that. So it was super good. It was fun. Little burritos, things like that. It was delicious.
Yeah,
So
nice.
that's
It's
kind of what
we
Christmas looks like on this side
obviously
for us now.
different different areas, different temps. Ours is because like Christmas is it's always fucking hot. So very limited meat. It's generally like
Ellie.
big seafood, well at least in my household. It's a big seafood thing. So essentially, you know, we have the house. We've got the big house. the pool
Mm.
and the rooms and all that shit. So we do the entertaining. So everybody comes to my house, which means I don't have to drive, so I can
Oh,
drink.
blessings.
So, like obviously, the 6 a.m. champagne while Addie's opening up her gifts. Me and the missus pop open a bottle. And then we get straight stuck into it. The morning essentially is just trying to keep away from the boss. Because if we get in her kitchen, if we get in her way, Addie and I, we're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. That champagne glass she's
So
drinking out of is going to
one,
be broken by your head.
oh yeah, we definitely punished it. She ended up making I think 8 or 12 liters of cocktails, like in big dispensers. We had
Cool.
about, I think it was 3 or 6 kilos. I think it was 6 kilos of snapper.
Okay.
On the Barbie, we had 3.5 kilos of prawns.
Oof.
We had scampi. They're like think like yabbies, but just bigger, or
Okay,
like
I don't.
big
Yeah,
prawns with
definitely.
claws. Yep, we had those. Actually, we did have a piece of meat. We had a turducken. We put a turducken in the
Nice.
oven. Yeah, in the oven, because my sister doesn't eat seafood. Minimal salads. You don't make friends with salad.
No,
Uh,
you don't.
Copious amounts of alcohol in the pool. The music going, the Barbies firing. It's just, we try to get cricket, but like most Aussies, especially on Boxing Day, always have like a game of park cricket going.
Now,
But
Boxing Day is the
by that,
26th, right?
yeah. So
Okay.
it's a follow up party, so to speak, because Christmas, you try and eat, you start eating anywhere between 11:30 and you finish about 3, and like most people go home around about the 4:35. And you got to squeeze Die Hard in. Die Hard number one, you got to watch Die Hard somewhere during that day.
100%.
And then Boxing Day is, especially, you ask any Aussie, the only thing that goes on the TV on Boxing Day is the cricket. Most
Now,
Aussie,
what is
I
Boxing
don't watch
Day?
cricket.
Like, I've heard about it, but what is
Um,
Boxing Day? Like, is that when like the
you know
shops are
what?
discounted and like
Yeah,
you get great
the big Boxing
deals?
Day sales.
Okay.
That is one of it. I can't actually tell you, unless I Google it, exactly what
No, that's
Boxing Day
fine.
is. But for me,
We'll leave that to the listeners.
the thing that I equate with Boxing Day is obviously the big sales.
Okay.
All the shops are allowed to open up, and they start selling everything off cheap that they brought in just for Christmas. But it's
Okay.
cricket. It's back to essentially Christmas Day again. No presents, copious amounts of food, drinking, and the cricket on the TV screaming for the Aussies. It's
Okay.
basically just a second Christmas Day without presents.
Okay.
And then the 27th is cleaning up. Getting rid of all the wrapping paper, all the empty beer cans, all
Mhm.
doing all the dishes and the hose down, cleaning out the pool area. It's just, it's just next level. But we've always had
That's the
seafood.
perks
There's
of being the
always
host.
seafood on the table. Well, yeah. And again, I don't have to drive. My sister, the poor chick, she was at our house till about 4:30, and then had to drive about 2 hours to go see her in-laws.
Mm. Gross.
So yeah, that
My in-laws
for
are
me, I
only
just
about 10 minutes
no.
away, so it's very convenient.
Oh yeah, you're lucky. We are lucky. If it wasn't like subconsciously, maybe we bought this house because of the entertainment factor. Really, we bought it
Mhm.
for Addie, but my sister's house is too small. She could not fit,
Yeah.
like the 12, 15 people that always turn up on Christmas Day. So we're very lucky that we've got the house for it. And so yeah, I don't have to drive, so I can drink.
For sure. All right. Let's let's get this wrapped up here. We'll have to schedule a part 3, probably for 2025. We'll leave that on the calendar. Just bookmark it for 2025. Well, at this rate, 2022, 14 months. So yeah, we're probably looking
It's crazy, isn't it?
2025. So probably spring 2025. We're looking at maybe. So bookmark it. We'll be approaching probably 200 by then, which will be which is just phenomenal to think about. Just how far we've come and how much further we have to go.
It is amazing. I'm really interested in one of your up and coming podcasts when you have the doctor on.
Yes. So,
and I would not be the only dad who listens to you with a special child. So having a doctor on your show is just amazing, and thank you for arranging that.
Yeah, so his name is Dr. Anthony Harold. Super cool dude. We've just been exchanging messages and whatnot, but I really just liked how the approach he takes in his work, with where he's more focused on the prevention, very kind of like a ways to well approach. I don't know if you ever heard of ways to well. Bring him Bruce, I think is his name. Just more of these guys that are out there that are really trying to break the commonalities, and his focus is working with dads. Like, I could have, there's so many coaches, there's so many life fit coaches, lifestyle coaches, fitness coaches, and whatnot out there. I've talked to so many of them. They're all phenomenal dudes. I've talked to so many just different people since we last spoke. There's been so many. And it's just so cool just to get to know just different walks of life, different dads, different experience and whatnot. It's probably the coolest part, which I love. I love that part of the podcast and being able to get to know people and relate and share stories. And the best part of it is when it hits the one person that it has to hit. We've had recent interactions to where our podcast hit one guy, and it was exactly what he needed, the conversation. He said it felt like he was just sitting in the car with us, chatting, conversating. He was part of the conversation. That just meant so much that it helped him get through that time. And, that's why we do it. We don't do it for sponsorships or for money or for the ad money or the revenue or anything. We never will, because that's not what's important. It's about sharing the stories, giving these different men and women a platform to share their stories, and to give themselves the opportunity to talk about, Sturge Weber, and hopefully bring just enough awareness to maybe it catches with the right person eventually.
Well, that's like that. That's it. There, you actually hit the nail on the head, right? Because if you can reach that one person who really needs to hear something, and it lets them know that, hey, mate, fuck, you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
There are other people out there doing it similar. Just reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like if there are any other fathers out there, who are listening to you that has a child with Sturge Weber, or questions, or just want to shoot the shit, hit me up. Speak to Jay, get my details. I'm more than happy to have a FaceTime beer with you.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we want. That's exactly why we do this show, is to make those connections, to make you not feel so alone. Because who knows, there probably is another dad out there that's like, damn it, my kid has Sturge Weber. I don't know what to do. They're so far behind. There's no hope. It's hopeless. I can't do it, kind of thing. And maybe they just need to talk to you, or vice versa. Maybe you have the blueprint that they need to start to look, to feel hope or whatnot. And it's all about instilling that hope into each other. That's what we can do in this community and with this platform, and just as men, as fathers, as brothers, as part of the fatherhood, brotherhood, to share that hope, to instill it in one another, to share those tips, tricks, and strategies. And this worked for me. Have you tried this? No, I haven't. I'm going to try it. Shit, that worked. That was amazing. What next? What else do you got? Kind of thing. To share those stories and experiences, because that's what fatherhood's about. That's what being a man's about. That's what being in this sphere is about. Being a dad's about. It's not about you. It's about everyone else around you, because you're always helping your kid. You're helping your partner. You can help yourself by helping someone else. Just it's a huge model of what we do and why we do it. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate.
but let's end here. So last time you were on, we didn't have this as part of the show. It's the YDP3. So if you've listened, which I know you have, you better have, over the last year or so. The YDP3 is 3 questions that we've been asking guests for quite some time now, just to end our show and to get the best, squeeze out the last of the nuggets from the nugget bag. So the first question here of the YDP3 is, where are you rooted? Like, where do your roots run? Your core values, core memories, what's important to you? Like, where are those roots?
Jesus Christ! I thought you were just going to ask me what color paint I like. Um,
No.
my core values. Wow. Honestly, it's just I just want to wake up every day and just try and help someone. I want to make sure that it's easier to be a good bloke than it is to be an asshole. I want to make sure that I've always got a roof over my daughter's head. I want to make sure that I'm somehow making this world, a better place for her. You know, it's not. I don't really have a core set. Like, I can say, oh, family, this, that. But if
Mhm.
I can just make someone smile, if I can secure the future for my daughter, I'll be fucking stoked. When I walk the dogs, I say g'day, good morning, happy new year to everybody I walk past. Some acknowledge, some smile. Well, guess what? That person wasn't smiling 30 seconds prior to me walking past,
Mhm.
but they smiled then, and they probably smiled for 5 seconds as we passed, as I walked off. So that just made someone smile. How fucking awesome is that?
It's the
You know?
best. It's seriously
So
the best. Like, I love that. I did that at
yeah,
work. Like, when it was our first day back after the new year, I was like, "Oh, I haven't seen you since last year." The time was classic. Um, it was my favorite because it legit, it made everyone smile. It made them roll their eyes, made them laugh. Like, made being back at work after the New Year's and with the New Year's hangover
yeah.
a little bit more bearable.
For me, it's just the little things. Like, just do little things that matter, and for someone, that's a fucking big thing. And so yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
me, I just want to help.
100%. All right, next question here. What grounds you? Like, what brings you back when you're all stressy and depressy and anxiousy or upset, frustrated, whatever? What grounds you? What brings you? What snaps you right back into reality?
Probably the darkest day was I've got a we spent a week in the ICU with Daddy a couple of years ago, where she was having um a cluster of seizures, and I had to video her, and so I've got all these videos and photos on my phone. And so when I'm having a really fucked up day, like stress, work, whatever, I'll go back through my photos and I'll start there. I'll start at that really shitty day. And when she woke up out of the coma, the first thing she wanted was a spoonful of chocolate mousse. But she gave me a thumbs up. Like, she was paralyzed on her right side of her body, but she gave me a thumbs up with the left, which says, "Dad, I've got this." And now, if she can do that, if she can go through all that bullshit, just give me a thumbs up and a smile, then this shit thing, whatever's caused my day to be bad, it's not that bad, is it? You know? So I just start from there, and then I scroll through and I look at pictures. I look at videos of her having fun. I've even got a photo of my missus, like, pissed off, giving me an eyebrow lift, which I think is cute. I look at that. So it's my girls. My girls bring me down. Like, bring me back down to earth when I'm having a bad day. They bring everything full circle, you know. It's definitely my girls. Oh, and my dog. Can't forget my dog.
I love that.
I
I
just
love
played
that.
with
Last
him.
one.
So yeah, family.
I love that. All right, your last one here. Um, sorry, the cough is not part of the question. Um, let's say I come to you. You don't know me. I'm just some random yank, some random bloke. I just come up to you. I'm like, look, man, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're about, but I see that you're happy. I see that you're having a good time with your kid. I'm not. shit sucks right now. This is probably the lowest I've ever been. You get to tell me one piece of advice that's going to encompass helping me come out of this dark, down, depressed place I'm at. What are you going to start with, and what's your 2-minute thing that you get to tell me?
But straight off the bat, we go straight to the pub. You can't have a deep and meaningful without having a cold beer, because that's when the truth really comes out. Straight to the pub. And I'm going to say, mate, don't sweat the small stuff. You know, you're having a bad day. Your kid pissed on the floor. So what? I bet they had fun doing it. What, it took you 30 seconds to clean up? You know, don't sweat the small stuff. Cling on to the big things, the things that matter. You know, is your kid healthy? Is your kid happy when you're around? You know, really cling on to those. Lock that shit down and just take it day by day. Your kid tip their food onto the floor. Your kid had food. There are fucking kids out there that don't have food. So just clean it up. You know, find out what's wrong, because there's going to be something deeper going on. Addie can't fully verbalize her emotions. So we need to work that out. You can't just snap at her. She's trying to tell you. She's trying to tell me what's wrong. So I have to try and listen. So don't sweat that little shit, you know. Dig deeper and cling on to the good things that really matter.
I love that. I think that's
pretty much it. And then it would be your shout. I'd be sending you to the bar to get the next round.
No, I think that's so important. Like I have this conversation all the time with people, you know, with parents, with caregivers. Like, okay, so what? You have a mess. Like, what's that mess mean? Like, let's put it in perspective. Yes, you have a big ass pile of laundry, but let's put that in perspective. Let's put all these different things into perspective on what they truly mean and what they stem from. So what, you have toys all over the place. What's that mean? So what, they pissed on the floor. Yeah, they probably had fun doing it. You know, and I think just keeping that so perspective is so crucial. But Evan, where, if the people are curious about Sturge Weber, what resources or things do you have that you like to shout out, that you support, that you're familiar with, that you know that it's like a trusted, reliable resource for them to go and get some more information, educate themselves, and learn a little bit more?
So, everything comes out of the States. There is the Sturge Weber Foundation, the Vascular Malformation Foundation, predominantly run by, I think her name's Dr. Roselle. She's fucking amazing. There's a lot of it on Facebook, thankfully, because let's face it, Facebook is the source of most information these days. But definitely the Sturge Weber and Vascular Malformation Clinic and Foundations, that is where you get majority of the information. When you Google Sturge Weber Syndrome and you go into the images, it's so fucking confronting, because Dr. Google will always give you worst scenario.
Gives you
But
the
if you
worst.
Google Sturge Weber Foundation or Vascular Malformation Foundation, that's where you get your real information. You know, it won't tell you that there are three different, like Dr. Google won't tell you that there are three different types. You know, two that are visual, one that's very impactful, and one it's nothing. You know, you don't. It's not even a visual. They don't have the Port wine stain. But Dr. Google doesn't tell you that. But the Sturge Weber Foundation will.
Yep, and just for our visual people, this is what Google pulls up if you're looking at us on YouTube or anything when you type in Sturge Weber syndrome. Like you're saying, 100%. It pulls up the worst of it. All these it honestly looks horrific and scary and very easy to misunderstand. However, you type in, you said the Sturge Weber Foundation right there.
There she is.
Look at that. That's not scary. That's not intimidating.
I actually have that ribbon tattoo on my forearm.
You do, yeah. I think I've seen that.
But, yeah.
So you're right here at Sturge Weber Foundation. So sturge-weber.org. So if you're looking at it here, but that's not scary.
See, Some
It's not
kids, like I
scary.
said, it's all different. Some kids are
Hmm.
perfectly able and functioning. You know.
Yeah. So that's not scary. Like, it's not scary. Like, go to the right resources, use the right things, and educate yourself, because this is something that's
Yeah.
really worth educating yourself about, learning more, exploring, and just being able to recognize it. So instead of you seeing a little girl at the grocery store that has port wine or is affected by Sturge Weber and saying that she looks like a little monster with her face paint, you could actually be sensitive. You could ask and engage in that conversation. Because if I'm just a normal person at the grocery store and I come up to you and I'm like, oh, your little girl's face paint makes her look like a little monster, so cute, versus, hey, does she have port wine or possibly even Sturge Weber?
Mhm.
Like, man, like that's really tough. But you guys look like you're doing great. Like, awesome, man. Keep pushing. That's gonna come off a
Well,
lot
that's it,
more
Sturge.
different. That's the difference, you know.
Yeah, well, Sturge Weber isn't contagious, but awareness is.
100%. So, and that's what we're here to bring you awareness. But Evan, thank you so much for having just an amazing part two. I'll make sure I post. I'll make sure I post some information to Sturge Weber, some resources, and then if you guys ever want to talk to Evan, you guys want to learn more about it, firsthand perspective, hit me up. I'll give you his details, his contact, so that you can get in contact with him. But Evan, again, thanks, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate just your openness and willingness to spread that awareness, because it is contagious. So
No, definitely thank you for having me, and I'll close it out with pineapple does belong on pizza.
I'm editing that out, maybe. Until next time, everybody, you guys
Thanks
have a
very
great
much,
week.
mate.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers.